It's a Stand on Business Wednesday. It is a schedule release Wednesday. Football offseason isn't here. James is just heating up. We get the schedule release following this show on Big 12 Studios. To find out where you can get Big 12 Studios, go to big12studios.com. But Tubi, Roku, Amazon Prime Video, YouTube, just some of the platforms in which you can get Big 12 Studios. And again, the schedule release show coming up following this show at 10 a.m. Central, 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Big 12 Studios. Of course, you can always listen to us on TuneIn with the TuneIn app. Make sure to download the TuneIn app and search Big 12 Radio. Make sure to heart the channel there. And that way it shows up each and every time you open up the app. The game of the week this week, Texas Tech's on a heater right now. They've won, well, at least a couple of big-time games in a row here. Is it 2 straight overall, or have they won more than that?
No, they've won 4 in a row.
4 in a row.
Yeah, they've won 4 in a row.
But 2 very impressive wins of late. And they get Houston at home on Saturday. That's a 5:30 Central start, 6:30 Eastern Time, and you can catch the broadcast on Big 12 Radio on TuneIn. Let's start right there, James. The game you were at, you took the trip down to Waco from Dallas last night, called the Baylor Texas Tech game with King McClure. Did a great job. Though I will say the Kentucky Derby look was an interesting look. You look phenomenal, as always. But it was, what do they call that? Is that a paisley suit? Is that what that was?
I'm not sure. It was a pale blue, I would say.
Stripes?
Yeah.
Kind of like a crunchy look.
Yeah, just a little more spring vibe. Just wanted to, keep it light.
It was definitely spring.
Live, laugh, love. Bet the mortgage on checkered silence. Prestige worldwide. Ride that horse all the way.
Yeah, nothing says spring like 20-degree weather in
basketball in January.
North Texas.
Wanted to brighten things up a little bit. I got a lot of compliments on that suit, okay? So let's just...
Did you?
I did.
Was that one of those like, oh yeah, suit looks great?
No.
But it looks good on you, though.
No. These compliments, I wasn't fishing for them like I do on the reg. This was just totally out of the blue.
Hey, the suit, huh?
Totally out of the blue.
Huh?
Had I known we were going to be on camera as much as we were, I maybe would have gone with a different choice, I'll be honest. Second half, the game got a little out of reach. There was a lot of camera time.
There was a lot of James.
I was not prepared for. We were on camera, and we didn't even know it. They didn't even tell us.
I mean, the game was so out of reach. You guys were giving NFL predictions.
Yes.
And I'm watching the game like, I'm going to trust James's NFL predictions? Hashtag fade James on his AFC, NFC.
Google's during commercial break, Drake May passing stats.
Who is Broncos quarterback? Now, you knew that one because you're
Seahawks defense. Yeah, we knew that was going to happen at some point during the show.
I did look up and was like, why is James constantly on my TV? Like, is there a game on?
That's amazing. Yeah, the best part, we had no idea. We had no clue. Like, we usually do an on-cam at the top. We do one at the half, and they're really brief, like 30 seconds. And then the second half, the game got out of reach, and at some point, the producer pops in our ear and says, yeah, you guys are on camera while King's telling this story. And I look down at the monitor, and it's just like, bam, there we are. And then apparently several other times, which we were not notified for the rest of the game. So that wasn't.
Could you see me when I waved to you?
Oh, yeah. I knew you were there.
I love how you thought about that for a second.
I knew you were there. I was thinking of you all game. I was with King, but I was thinking of you the entire time.
My wife walks in. She's like, are you waving to James? Maybe he could see me, okay?
Not sure if you guys have heard, but Baylor's got the number 1 lineup in the Big 12. Minimum of 60 possessions.
Okay, so we talked about that yesterday. Evan Mia's numbers, lineup numbers. With a minimum of 60 possessions, Baylor has the number 1 most efficient team in the Big 12.
This is offense, defense, everything.
Yes.
Combined, lumped together. It's essentially the best lineup on the floor.
So did you tell Scott Drew? Hey, Scott, Coach Drew, I got it. I got your lineups. Don't worry. Don't you fret your little head anymore. I got it.
I did not.
Oh.
But I told King, and I told John Morris. Both of them totally did not believe. So, guys, I swear. In fact, I almost texted you being like, hey, people are really doubting this. Are you sure? Like, did you...
I'll send it to John Morris.
Did you get the filters right? Did you do descending order? Like, that thought was in my head.
Did you give me the worst matchup, the worst lineup?
Right. And they played that lineup for, 2 possessions. And then they pulled one of the guys and brought in Ratai, but Texas Tech is a machine. They're an absolute machine.
I'm not sure any lineup would have made a difference. They hit 14 first-half threes?
14 first-half threes. They tied a program record with 17. Christian Anderson had 8. Donovan Atwell hit 7. JT Toppin hit it. Like, everybody was making threes. And Anderson and Atwell, they were outscoring Baylor by themselves for like two-thirds of the game. And then down the stretch, Texas Tech went to JT Toppin. They're just dynamite offensively. They don't turn it over. They're always in the right spot, and they can shoot.
Yeah. No, the most surprising part of this game was the fact that they only made 17 threes after hitting 14 in the first half. And, the biggest surprise of the night was that they got 7 threes from Donovan Atwell in the first half. He didn't even attempt a three, I don't think, in the second half.
No, he was in foul trouble. So the only concern or Achilles heel that I think could bother Texas Tech is foul trouble. When you look at their losses, and Grant McCasland told me that yesterday, he's like, man, you look at our L's, and it's because we were in foul trouble. We were in foul trouble against Houston. We were in foul trouble early in the season against Illinois and Purdue. So that's the only thing, because they don't have a deep bench. Donovan Atwell picked up some early fouls in the second half and had to sit almost the entire second half. Lawan Watts didn't play much in the first half because he was in foul trouble, and they still delivered. Guys stepped up. That was a 1.5-point line, and that was supposed to be a down-to-the-wire, buzzer-beater type game, and Texas Tech smoked Baylor on the road.
Yeah, and, the first half, again, when you hit 14 threes, it's impossible to keep up. You're grinding every possession, and then they get the ball up the floor, and it's like, boom, 3, go. It was really remarkable.
Yeah.
Like, there was a stretch there where I think they hit 4 or 5 threes in a row as a team. There is one thing, though, about Texas Tech that concerns me, which I'll get into in a second. But first, let's hear what Grant McCasland had to say following this win about his former boss, Scott Drew.
But, man, I just want to remind people, I mean this with all my heart, that Coach Drew is one of the best coaches in college basketball for all time. What he's done with this program, and when we walk in here and see just this venue and what he's built. I was a part of a team that went with it without any wins in conference play. And then I watched them coach a season without a conference game. It just basically had it to 0. To see what this is built to, I have so much respect for Coach Drew because he's the ultimate fighter, man. He just has got such kindness, but he's a scrapper. And this team, I was telling him in the line, like, they've got good talent, probably not the pieces that fit Coach perfectly, but man, they just got great talent. They'll keep getting better. I just felt like we jumped on them early and had the right mix of competitiveness defensively and great ball movement and spacing. Really thrilled for our guys to compete the way we did tonight.
Yeah, I almost got the feeling that McCasland, like the way they were raining threes the first half, Grant had to feel a little bit bad about that.
Yes.
Guys, let's not make so many threes. Impressive win for Texas Tech. I think there's 2 teams, though, James, that are elite in the Big 12 that have major flaws. Texas Tech and BYU have no depth. They got 7 points off their bench, all from Tyree Bryant. Other than that, though, they just don't get a ton of scoring production off their bench.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Texas Tech is number 1 in the country in percentage of their points that come from their starters. They've got the big 3 with Anderson, Atwell, and JT Toppin, and then Lawan Watts is kind of the 4th guy.
Well, it like the last game it was Atwell. The game before the BYU game it was Watts. It's like they've got the big 2 and then one of Atwell or Watts.
Exactly. Yeah, and they've got the second highest scoring trio in the country, and it's Anderson, Toppin, and Watts. Now they're supposed to at some point get Luke Bamboye back, who played in a couple of games in the non-conference. He was the nation's leading shot blocker per minutes played last year at VCU. He's a 7-footer in the middle that is going to help them immensely on the glass.
So much of what he does is take some of the wear and tear off of JT Toppin.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to bang down low for the entire season, which, you're hoping that you get Bamboye, and now he does some of that, and that, keeps Toppin fresher as the season progresses.
Mm-hmm. And the timetable for his return, they are confident he will play this season, but nobody knows when. In fact, Grant McCasland said, I'm so frustrated by the whole thing, I just stopped asking. I've stopped asking him. I've stopped asking the team doctors. When he can play, they'll tell me, hey, he's good to go. Because he practices, like he's out there. It's a lingering thing, and it's like he's right there ready to go, but he just can't quite clear whatever that last hurdle is. But these guys are like best friends. They're really close, Scott Drew and Grant McCasland. In fact, Scott Drew wanted Grant McCasland. He called him the night before the game, like 2 nights ago, wanted him to come over to his house just to hang out and play pickleball. He's got a court in his home, and Grant said, no, I'm good. I'm going to get ready for the game. Scott's like, all right. That's just the kind of guy that he is.
Impressive win last night for Kansas against a Colorado team that's sliding. They've lost 4 straight now, Colorado, and 6 of their last 8, including losses to Stanford, Northern Colorado, Texas Tech, Cincinnati, West Virginia, and now Kansas. The story going into this game would be who'd be the head coach, the interim coach, if you will, while Self sits with an illness that he had to be, at least have some medical intervention for. But Kansas goes and gets a 75-69 win, and this win looks a lot like the previous 2, which is really good news for Kansas. They defended very well, and then they weren't overly reliant on Darren Peterson. Peterson had 16 points. He turned his ankle at one point in this game and still played down the stretch, which is something that Jacques Vaughn mentioned following this win for Kansas.
We talked about at the end of the day, can we leave this with an empty tank? And so that you leave everything on the floor for your teammates. And he tried to do that tonight, and the bank was open. Late night ATM withdrawal.
Yeah, Peterson hit a late 3 off the bank that was huge. KU was up just 1 and then held Colorado scoreless for a 3-minute stretch. And then Melvin Council finished this game. We think about coming into the season, who would emerge for Kansas, and would it just be Darren Peterson? Well, I mean, Melvin Council is a finisher. He had 10 points of his 18 in the final 5 minutes of this basketball game.
He is becoming one of the best guards in the Big 12. And he's not getting any credit for the development and the surge that we've seen from him on both ends of the floor, because he might be the best on-ball defender in the league. He has tremendous instincts.
Great length, obviously.
That stretch where he drove in, he gets a layup. Then he steals the inbounds pass. Just a heady play. Just all instincts. Pure, the KU wasn't pressing. He steals the inbounds, goes back to the basket, lays it in again. That was with just under about 5 minutes to play in the game, in a huge turning point in this contest. And this felt like maybe a little bit of a day at the office for Kansas winning this game, because it was clear that they've got the NBA talent, they've got the dudes, but that is a tough spot for KU. A late night tip, Tuesday night, altitude in Boulder, a fired-up Colorado team backed into a corner, needs a win to stay at 500 in Big 12 play, and Kansas gets the victory. This is a game that going in, if we were making picks, I would have picked Colorado because of the spot. Bill Self out, Jacques Vaughn in for this game.
Yep.
So many intangibles going against Kansas. And I love what Jacques Vaughn said about Darren Peterson, talking about leaving it all out on the tank is empty after the game. Whatever that tank is, however many minutes it is, it's empty at the end of the game. And we saw that. We saw that from him finally, because it was clear that he was not 100% and he still played through it.
How about Trey White with 17 and 15 rebounds? Kansas out-rebounded Colorado there, plus 12 on the glass. The defensive rebounding held Colorado to 1 and done. I mean, they had 36 defensive rebounds. So that was clearly an emphasis. They cleaned up, did not want to give Colorado second chance opportunities, and that was the case for Kansas. Elsewhere last night, TCU gets a big win over Oklahoma State, 68-65 in a game that Oklahoma State completely pissed away. Had a 7-point lead late, and TCU went on a 10-0 run to close it out. K-State gets its first Big 12 win. Congrats, K-State. Way to go. 81-78. They had to hold off a late surge from Utah, but they do it. Utah missed some free throws down the stretch. P.J. Haggerty goes for 34. They did win this game, I will say, James, without Abdi Bashir. He had to miss this game. So too did McGriff. So, key injuries for K-State, and Haggerty did what Haggerty does, which is score a ton of points. And, Kansas State just did enough to win this one.
Yeah, that's the silver lining for K-State is that without Bashir, I would have thought they don't win any game. I don't care who they're playing. And the guards from Utah with Brown and McHenry, one of the top 7 scoring duos in the country in the backcourt. Like, there's only 6 other teams in college basketball whose 2 guards have scored as many points as those 2 at Utah. So without Bashir, I would have leaned Utah in this game. So Kansas State getting the win, finally getting off the schneid. The last winless team in Big 12 play was nice to see. I feel for Oklahoma State, TCU had to have that. Like, TCU had to have that game. It's at home. You've got a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. Protecting your home floor is so important in this league. But like you said, a missed opportunity for an Oklahoma State team that record-wise, they're on the outside looking in. But I think talent-wise and the way they play, they should be a tournament team. You know, I watch them, and I still think they're really good, but their record in Big 12 play would not say that right now. And you've got a lead like that on the road. That's just an inexperienced roster.
Yeah, and finally, Iowa State punks UCF 87-57. Here's Iowa State taking out its frustrations of 2 straight losses on UCF. Joshua Jefferson, 17, 10, and 12 assists. His second triple-double of the season, which is an Iowa State record.
And he didn't have a single turnover. A turnover-free masterpiece from Joshua Jefferson. Momcilovic was more comfortable back at home. He hit 4 threes, a 30-point spread in that one. That's what Iowa State does. When Iowa State is angry and they're playing at home, that Hilton magic comes alive. They built an early 18-point lead. UCF shot below 37% from the floor, so Iowa State was nails defensively. This is what we saw prior to the 2-game skid from the Cyclones.
Yeah, well said. All right, Norm Roberts, the former Kansas assistant coach who, in a similar spot to last night, had to take over for Bill Self. We'll hear his perspective on that, plus his thoughts on the games last night. This is Big 12 Today with James Westling. I am Ari Temkin. We are brought to you by Modelo, heard on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios.